Hi, everybody, from the Mind, Body, and Soul TV. Another episode after 8 years. We've been a network for, 12 years, and we stopped counting at 15,000 shows. Welcome, everybody. We love you that you're being here with us. We have a fantastic guest with us. Of course, I'm your host, Coach Steve Toad, the founder of Conscious Evolution Media, and our guest this evening is Matthew O'Grady, and he's a business coach, a happiness coach, and a success coach. And he's joining us from Huntington Station, New York, which is a dear place for me because I used to live there when I first came to this country. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. So the theme of the show for this evening is how to live in gratitude. And oh boy, what a theme this is. So I have to ask you though, if I have the power, which I don't, to take away all these titles, business, happiness, success coach, and any other title that anybody has ever called you in your life to this point, what would that leave you with? Like, who is really Matt O'Grady?
That's a great question. As I get quiet and just let that come through, what came through was a friend. That's the word that I heard there is a friend. And I think there's, like Rumi calls the mystical, unknown, the all that is, the friend. And I think ultimately there's a real beautiful connection there for when you pare it all down, what are you? And I like to think that I'm a friend to myself and I'm a friend to others.
Fantastic. So Matt, tell a little bit about yourself to the viewers, just to get you related to the viewers, and to me as well, because I don't study my my guests, because I know that you are the right one. You're at the right place at the right time right now. So tell us a little story about how you got to this moment. The short version.
Sure. Well, the short version is I was a young guy thinking that I was going to go out and protect the world, and I joined the military in my early 20s, and it was a really interesting experience for me because what happened was my body got broken down, and my mind got broken down, and my heart got broken, and there I was, a disabled veteran trying to figure out my life. I thought I was going to have this career, and it was completely taken away from me. Through this experience of becoming a disabled veteran, I was gifted, as much as I never would have thought in the moment. It was much more dark night of the soul for me. I was gifted with this experience of gratitude in a really deep, profound way, even though I was essentially broken. That's where my life really started to shift, because my inner life started to become as important as anything external. And once that shift began, it just continued to build momentum to 20 years later, we're here tonight.
Well, awesome. So help us get in touch with the energy or the frequency of gratitude.
Sure. So for me, the frequency of gratitude and appreciation really has a lot to do with relaxing and opening to the heart, what we're experiencing in the heart center. And I find it to be one of the most transformational techniques, skills, patterns, practices that someone can learn, because there's always something to be grateful for, whether it's your body, whether it's your breath, whether it's your family, whether it's your relationships, your the roof over your head, anything that you really put your attention on, you can see, touch, feel, experience, taste, think about, is something that you can be grateful for. It really has no bounds, and that's one of the things I love about it. It really is an infinite practice. And the deeper you go into it, the more you can experience it. The deeper you go into it, you find it has many places that you can go. It's always continuing to unfold for me. So here I am decades later, still deepening my practice and loving what it does for my life.
So what motivates you? What is the motivation for you to do what you do?
That's a great question. For me,
it's all I have, Matt. All I have is questions.
That's great. That's great. I have them too.
I don't have the answers.
I think what really motivates me is getting the opportunity to work with others, to kind of hang out with them as they go on their journey and through their path. And that's ultimately why I became a coach, because I wanted to learn how to do it with others. You know, I think it's like anything else. Once you've done it for a while yourself, I was kind of in the game 15 plus years of self-development and spirituality and dozens, if not hundreds, of retreats and workshops and experiences all across the country. And then it was like, okay, enough just focused on myself. What can I give back? What can I give to others? What can I share? And 6 years ago, I started a podcast just to have fun and explore these spiritual topics. And it just kind of started to unfold where people are contacting me on the podcast. You know, I want you to be my coach. I said, I'm not even a coach. And slowly but surely, it unfolded to become a really big expansion for me, where I was able to just really start focusing on what I could give to others, what these experiences could do to help others. So as I continue down that path, that's really what motivates me, is the joy of being able to work with others and see the effects of the practices in their lives and get their feedback and see their lives shift and change, as I know mine did when I started to focus more on the inside than just the outside of my life.
Interesting. So I'm curious about what would you recommend for people to do to get in touch with their own gratitude? How would somebody do that, and why would they be motivated to do it?
Well, let's start with the motivation, because I think that has to happen first. So the motivation is, I think always for human beings, you know, we're either drawn towards pleasure or we're trying to avoid pain. There's like a very central aspects of just being human. And when we start to realize how much pleasure, joy, happiness, sweetness, sublime opportunities there are for us, and gratitude can really be that piece. So the motivation becomes wanting to feel better, wanting to be happier, wanting to learn how to relax and feel relief and really let the beauty of our lives unfold. Because as we know, I mean, I know you're going to live to 400, but
that's right.
There's a lot of.
I may change that later to make it longer, but right now,
I'll
do that when I get to 400. But right now, I'm going to remain. The goal remains to be 400.
It's a great goal.
But I'm just warning everybody that I might change it when I get there.
Hey, if you make it to 400, I think you deserve the right to go another 100 or 2 years.
Yeah.
For most of us, there's this realization that we have a finite time in these human bodies, and what are we really going to do with it? And so I've found ways of just integrating gratefulness, thankfulness, appreciation into my life, so that I'm always looking through that filter. In the pre-show, I was joking a little bit about the rose-colored glasses, but what I've really found is that gratitude is like a lens that we can put on ourselves so that we see through it and then feel through it. So our heart's engaged. We're aware, because awareness, as we know, is such a tremendous practice to understand what our experience is here. Gratitude really forces us into awareness, even if we don't realize that we're doing it, because it makes us be introspective and look at ourselves, notice what we're feeling and experiencing, looking at our lives and really noticing the abundance, the joy, the kind of really cool things that we have going on in our lives. And then the how to do it is the simplest thing, and that's where I get really excited, is focus on what's good. focus on what you like, focus on who you like, focus on who you appreciate most, focus on who you laugh with the most. Who do you have that kind of, really carefree best time with every time you're with them? And
yeah, but Matt, this is what freaks people out is when you say it's really simple. It's almost like it occurs to me that humanity doesn't like anything that's simple. They like it to be complicated and dramatic.
yes, that's right. That's right.
You say it's simple, they run.
It's true. It's true. So we have to come up with all these really kind of thoughtful ways to bring people through. So, I have these.
So you have a way to trick them?
A bit. I mean, I think we're tricking ourselves, right? We have to give the ego mind something to do, because if it doesn't feel like we're doing something, so kind of maybe not so simple, but pretty easy one is a gratitude journal. I bring all of my clients through that process of, if they've never done it before, and even if they have, to kind of bring it back into the practice and try to find 3 things a day that they're grateful for. And then at night before they've gone to bed, just, it could be just one word. And if you feel moved to, you could journal a few sentences or write a paragraph about the experience. But what that does is kind of take your mind and your body through the process. Exactly what you said. It complicates it a little bit, but what it does is gives us something to do and has us engage with it a little more. So it becomes a little more substantial to us rather than this amorphous, like, oh, I'm just feeling grateful. So for a lot of people, that's hard. They need a process to take them through it.
Yeah, these days I'm feeling like, Matt, and somebody just reminded me of this recently, is that it's almost like we play this game of duality, this game of opposites.
Yes.
And I've been listening for it all the way through our engagement here, and you said it many times. You said things many times that references duality. And I'm just wondering, and I'm connecting this to how we are playing this game ourselves, and who we playing it against is ourselves.
Mm.
This is like really weird.
It is. It is.
and I want, not that I want, I request that, see if you could take us through something like I know how powerful we are. I know you've done this. I've done this, where I'm feeling, most of the time I'm feeling like this. I feel awesome. I feel good. I enjoy life. I'm engaged in life. I truly feel that I'm loving myself. I feel the wholeness of everything. I'm not separate from, and especially lately, somebody helped me to really see this, that I'm whole just the way I am, and it was in front of me all along, and it's almost like I didn't see it. I kept referencing, someone pointed out to me that I kept referencing my higher self, and as soon as I said that, it took me outside of me. And my higher self is not outside of me, it's within me. I am it. Like, you are it. There's no outside stuff going on here. I feel that that's an illusion. But I have the power. Like, I notice that I feel this good, but then something could happen. Somebody could say something, or somebody could do something, and all of a sudden, I'm noticing that I'm reacting to something, and I start not feeling so good. And I pay attention to my emotions, and then I go, and I know that I have the power to spiral that down all the way to depression and despair.
Yeah.
If I really wanted to. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And so, and I don't want to, and I don't go there anymore, but I certainly have done it. So I'm wondering, what could you give us a way? Let's say that we're doing this talking, this self-talking, and we're talking ourselves down from feeling good to feel bad. And we do that. This is the stupid game that we do, right? This is what I was referring to. So when we're catching ourselves, talking ourselves down, take us through like some kind of a process that you use. How do we go from there to our theme, which is gratitude?
Sure. Well, one of the things that I think makes these issues that come up for all of us, harder to deal with is our lack of self-discipline to shift our attention, to move our attention, and to stare. There's that great quote, when a door closes, we stare so long at that closed door, we don't see the 500 that have opened. And I think that even if it comes down to some small issue, like somebody gives you an attitude, and we were really,
Matter of fact, hang on, Matt. The reason why that door closed
yeah,
is because we're not supposed to go through that door.
exactly. And that's why it's closed. Exactly. So why not train ourselves? Why not teach ourselves? Why don't we lovingly discipline ourselves to shift our attention away from that closed door, away from the problem? Because in my digital marketing company, it's the same. So I'm a coach, a business coach, and then of course, a happiness coach, and so I work with people all the time that have problems, right? They have these problems. So my job at the end of the day, honestly, is to teach them how to stop staring at the problem and start looking for solutions. And one of the ways that we do that is by, first of all, learning how to be in the body. So if we're always caught up in the mind, we don't have this gravitas kind of centered, grounded state. And so I love teaching people that first, is how to get into their bodies and relax. Because if we're in this kind of, in the Western world, and it's funny, we were talking about New York, but it can be anywhere, especially in any sort of Western metropolitan city.
It's why I didn't like it there, by the way, because nobody knows how to relax. Everybody is just go, 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 work, 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 money, 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 money. That's all you get. At least that was my experience. Did it change?
Quality of life. I think that pockets of it have changed. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Which pockets?
Right here in Huntington.
Which Huntington Station? Okay.
Huntington has become quite a cultural and spiritual center for Long Island. But what I think is really helpful, this process that I love to take people through, and it's the simplest, is really just learning how to get in our bodies and relax our bodies, and use the senses. These beautiful, amazing senses that we experience our whole lives through, including our emotional center. And once we kind of channel our awareness to look at these things, whether it's our skin, what we can see, what we can hear, what we can smell and taste and touch, and also feel in our hearts, and then all of a sudden, now we're much more connected to what's going on. And even if it was just for the 2 minutes or 30 seconds to get ourselves grounded and connected, all of a sudden we've just desensitized at least a little bit the sharpness of whatever that thing is that we didn't want, or that was hurting us or upsetting us. And all of a sudden, when we come back to it with this kind of weight of kind of real spiritual awareness moving through us, all of a sudden the problem doesn't look like such a problem anymore. We say, okay, that's okay there right now. Let me start to look for the good, look for the solution. And that's why I think gratitude is such a great piece, because if we're always practicing some level of thankfulness in our lives, whether it's as simple as being thankful for the breath, that this life-giving breath that's always moving through us, that we don't have to think about, we don't have to pray for it, we don't have to ask for it, it's just there, just always there, right? If we're alive, we're breathing. And so as we start to just incorporate some of these really simple, relative
when we are breathing,
to incorporate, all of a sudden life starts being that much more accessible. The solutions become that much more accessible. So I get really excited about this topic. It's a great question.
Okay. So I think what I also was hearing in between the lines there is that, and I think Einstein said this, is that you can get to the solution by focusing on the problem. And what we were also saying there is that when we are in the problem, or we are experiencing the problem, we are vibrating at a certain frequency, which is much lower than where the solution is. And we're not going to get to the solution because it's just not going to come. So what you're saying, really, what you're saying is that we got to get out of that place and focusing on gratitude, being appreciative for something or someone or whatever it is, takes us out of there. It takes us to a higher frequency where the solution will come.
That's right.
By the way, I have a great example of what you just said in just like 30 seconds ago. Our website was hacked for the first time ever in the history of Conscious Evolution Media. And if this would have happened, let's say, just as little as 5 years ago, I would have lost my mind. I would have been so angry because I felt, let me tell you, and I have never been sexually violated, but that's how it felt. Okay, and I don't know what that feels, but I just had this notion that that's how that must feel, because I felt so violated that somebody entered into my website and did all kinds of things in there that wasn't okay with me. You know what I mean? And it took us down. But instead of reacting to it the way I would have reacted, so this is just, it's not a pat on my back. I'm just sharing this with you and with the viewers that, you know, I am watching that I am growing and expanding. And, you know, I'm a different person than I was 5 years ago. I mean, the way I responded to it, I just basically, you know, called my assistant, Nan, and I said, cancel all the shows. And we're just not going to do anything right now. And I'll take care of it. And there's no rush. There's no hurry. If people can't deal with that, that's too bad. Because this is what's happening, and we gotta handle this. And I can't handle it from being upset and worried about what other people are thinking right now. And we got all kinds of emails and this and that, the other things, and I just ignored it all because going there isn't gonna help me. Make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Great example. Really intense. Because I think that's what most of us really want is being able to deal with it the way that you did. Because when you talk about the Einstein quote, it's great. You know, you can't solve a problem from the same mindset that created it. So I think he may have used the word consciousness. I forget, but it's that energy, that frequency that brought you to the issue, the problem, is only going to create more of the same. So,
right. If I stay there, matter of fact, I even entertain other people taking me there. It's just going to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and I'm not going to solve the problem.
So true. And so it's that spiral that you were talking about before. It's you know, once we get caught up, it's a slippery slope. We can slide right down into depression, despair, worry, anxiety, stress, and so it's having these tools, and that's why I focus so much on simple and easy, because I feel like so many of us are not going to dedicate ourselves to go to the mountaintop and go to 30-day retreats and you know, that kind of thing. And my real vision is that a lot of these really attainable techniques and processes and exercises will continue to go out to the mainstream, to the point where so many people are just able to deal with, you know, the daily stresses and the upsetments and the problems that come into life, and just say, hey, you know, I heard this story about not focusing on the problem and turning my focus onto the solution, because it's amazing. I'm going to have chills as I say it, because as you bring people through the process, because I do this every day of my life, it's so amazing to see the lights go on, their eyes open, their heart open, they relax, they smile, they just get joyful, because all of a sudden their energy is already attracting in what is going to solve the problem, what's going to be better.
It's coming. Good. They are being open to it, and it's coming. It's coming. And
they're paying me, right? So they really listen to me, you know, which is great. You know, it's like,
well, and not only that, Matt, that when we are responding with stress, stress happens to be, I did a whole series, like 24 shows on this subject, on health. And stress is the #1 killer. So, and I'm sure you know this. Oh my God, and I'm getting goosebumps. So when we open ourselves to stress, all of our systems in our body that's designed to handle this stuff shuts down.
Right.
So it's almost like we have no defensive system, and so we wonder why why the things that are happening in the world, because people are completely stressed out and they responding to situations from that frequency, and it just produces more negativity, more stress. Do I have to give the examples of commercial television or any of that? Probably not. It's the same. It's the same stuff, and it's feeding on itself. And we got a whole planet now, doing this stuff. And can I stop them? No. Do I want to? I don't really think so, because I used to think that I want to change the world, and I changed that theme to just change me. I'm happy enough just to change me and make sure that I grow and I expand and I'm going through my own evolution. And if people, resonate with any of it and the things that you said on the show so far, fantastic. But that's not why I'm doing it. I have a very selfish reason for doing it. And I know that you said on the show that you want to share it with other people. Well, I want to share it too, but I have no expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm noticing so clearly that people, like you said this on the show, and I can't remember the reference, but people develop this speed, like they end up going, like when you sit in a car and you go 100 miles an hour, that's how people's lives are. I'm just being simple here. And you can't stop them at 100 miles an hour because it's going to be an ugly crash.
That's right. Right. It's gonna be.
So you gotta slow them down, and I can't slow them down. They have to slow them down.
That's
they
right.
have to slow themselves down.
And that's
why you're around. That you can do this for people.
And this specific piece about getting grounded into the body, I think, is really important, because until you've practiced it a while, you can convince yourself, as we were joking before, you could trick yourself that you're being grateful, just like, oh, I'm breathing, I'm okay, and that kind of self-talk. But it still has that kind of panicky, worry energy to it. And that's why I think it's really good to just be able to get clear, even for a few moments, to just relax, breathe, get grounded, feel your body, feel your emotions, see what you're thinking, and then from that kind of grounded place, take the next step in the direction, and just reach for that better feeling thought, as Abraham Hicks talks about. I think is a really beautiful, simple way to be thinking about how to go for the solution. Reach for a better feeling thought, because the better feeling thought is always going to be up and out of the energy that was the problem. So if we can train ourselves over time, I mean, it doesn't happen like that, but you can have the realizations like that and say, wow, this stuff really works. I want to focus on it more. I want to learn more about it. And I want to practice it more. And then all of a sudden you start to see your relationships change. You start to see your experiences change. And then all of a sudden your life is different and you're so much happier and you feel so much better. And then it's interesting, because then you can start to go into all sorts of really fun areas like non-duality and start to explore some of the deeper opportunities.
Yes, that's the game. That's the game I'm playing now. Non-duality. I'm bored. Game. I'm bored with the old duality game. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your book. You just released a new book, right? And it just happens to be related to our theme.
Yes, Living Gratitude, a quote-unquote simple path to happiness.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I hope people are not going to run. I don't want people to run from your book. I want them to go get it. And where would they get it?
Amazon. Amazon.com. TheLivingGratitudeBook.com is my website for the book. And, I wrote it. It's interesting. I wrote it really because of working with people, family members, close friends that just kept saying, you've got to tell the story, you've got to tell the story. And I didn't really know if I wanted to. It was very intimate, kind of like my own personal story. But over time, I was able to see the real benefits of it. And in writing the story and reliving some of the experiences from the place that I'm in now was completely cathartic. So it was one of the best experiences I ever did, not just to try to share the philosophy of gratitude and help other people, but what it did for me was to really kind of place my life and see where I am and see where I want to go. So I highly recommend that people take the time to really look deeply into themselves and explore what it is that they want their life to be about. And that was kind of why I chose gratitude as the first topic that I wanted to write about, because it is so accessible, and it was such an important seminal kind of practice for me in really shifting how I viewed my whole life experience.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for actually writing that book, because I'm finding that gratitude is not something that we talk a lot about.
Mm.
It's at least, I do a lot of shows and a lot of different themes, and we actually have not had a show to this day, believe it or not, just on the theme of gratitude. We have, of course, mentioned gratitude and appreciation and things like that, but we have not focused an entire show just on this subject, and it's absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for writing the book, and when you mentioned that you were in the service, I wanted to say, but I didn't. Thank you for your service. I think that's a huge thing, that you actually went out there and protected this great nation. I'm from a foreign country, and I appreciate the freedom that we have here, even that Americans can be crazy time to time.
Yes.
This is still the best place to live, as far as I can tell.
As far as I can tell as well. And it's
the fact that we can tell the president that he or she is full of, is incredible freedom.
Yes, it's and it's interesting, the word service too. I think, the spiritual circles use that word, and then we have this military service. But for me, the core of it really is service, and I think that so many of the young men and women in this country that are in the service, because I met thousands of them in my years in the service, they really do. Their hope is to feel like they're doing something good for everybody else, and it really is like a giving thing. A lot of the reasons why they sign up and start and get into this career is because they really think that they're supporting and helping and protecting, and of course in a lot of ways they are. So I think there's this interesting connection between service, the spiritual service, and then the service of the military. And I know that in a lot of spiritual circles it can be, violence and this and that, but I really think it's important to look at the core of things at times and really see, kind of the base of it, and what the intention was. And for a lot of these people, it really is to give back and be of service. So thank you for mentioning it.
Yeah, absolutely. So mention your website one more time if people are interested in finding more about you, and maybe sign up for some of your services and get your book.
MattO'GradyCoaching.com is my coaching site, and the LivingGratitudeBook.com is specifically focused on the book. And I'm a happiness coach and a business coach. That's what I do. I try to help people find solutions to any problems that they have, and that's the joy in my life, to be of service, to do that for people. So it's been an absolute pleasure being here with you.
It's extremely obvious too, Matt. Your energy speaks volumes. You're extremely authentic. So thank you so much for being on the network. It's just another example of how many great people are out there in the world doing this work, and we can't have enough of you. It's like, I see it as like an army. We need a whole army.
Yes.
To take people by the hand and show them the path. And if they want to walk the path, great. If they don't, that's great too. Either way, it's fine. But thank you so much for doing what you do, and I'm very grateful, and I have great gratitude for what you're about and what you're doing every day.
I'm grateful for you. You've been putting on this amazing show, over 15,000 shows, creating such a beautiful frequency out there for people to receive this wisdom and information that's going to help their lives. So kudos to you, my friend. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Matt. All right, so if you, the viewers, were touched, moved, and inspired by anything that Matt said or did here this evening, keep coming to our network on YouTube. Just search for Conscious Evolution Media. We have 2,000 shows on YouTube, and every month we do a top 10. So the top 10 is based on how many times people come and watch a show, and also for how long. And the top 10 gets published at the end of every month, and the top 3 has the possibility of going to public television or cable television. So keep watching, keep clicking, keep doing what you guys do. Thank you so much for being here, and have a fantastic evening in Huntington Beach, California, or New York. I keep saying Huntington Beach. It's Huntington Station, because I lived in Huntington Beach too. It gets confusing. It's Huntington Station on Long Island. It's a beautiful place. It was beautiful back then when I first came here, and I'm sure it's much more beautiful today. So thank you very much. Have a good evening, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on the network again, same time, same place. Have a good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thanks.